Welcome to another video on literary theories, this time looking at critical race theory. Remember that a critical lens is like a perspective. We can see the world in any way that we like. You can always remember it from thinking about the glass that's filled with water. Some would see it as half full, some will see it as half empty. Now, critical race theory is led by Richard Delgado of the University of California at Berkeley. Now, critical race theory explores the influence that ethnic identity has on experiences. It seeks to avoid homogeny, colorblindness, or blending everything together. Instead, each individual racial or ethnic experience is taken seriously. Rather than coming up with one general or essential experience, personal events and truths are made important. Each person's story is respected. Now, fundamentally, critical race theory highlights individual experiences of different ethnicities and honestly examines systemic discrimination against minority groups. Think back to the water. Now, this time, this critical race theorist is going to see the glass as containing water because I've never had to worry about access to water. That's my ethnic and racial experience. That's what matters. Now, think about this in terms of my dog, Sydney. Remember how Minnie's reaction to his being petted in the previous video? But now, imagine Sydney as a critical race theorist. Bark. Now, Sydney's going to analyze the same event that Minnie saw in the context of his personal experience rather than anyone else's. This is his way of seeing things critically according to his race. Now, he isn't concerned about what other animals might think about his desire for petting, only his own actions. In particular, he's thinking about his particular ethnic and racial cultural experience influences his behavior. We could do the same thing for Minnie, or for me, or for any different race. That's the power of the critical race theory. You can see it from anyone's perspective. Let's try doing it with some stories we learned in class. In Hotel Rwanda, you can see things as either taking a single story for all of Africa into one tragic circumstance, or it can be seen from the perspective of a uniquely Rwandan experience. The Tempest, with its diverse cast of characters, can be seen from the point of view of Europeans like Miranda and Prospero, or indigenous beings from the magical island like Ariel and Caliban. Or think of the recent controversy over ethnic studies in Arizona. Some government officials believe that people need to avoid ethnic distinctions and focus on being just American, while many parents, students, and teachers see the classes as a way to express themselves and learn their culture. Now, you try to do it by thinking about examples from another Disney film. Let's try it with Aladdin. Pause your video when you come to a question. First, what would a critical race theory analysis of Aladdin be focused on? The answer, as the name of the theory suggests, should be on race rather than class. Secondly, what information would a critical race theory analysis need to really understand Aladdin? In this case, the focus should really be on how an Arabian culture values magic in its storytelling. We're looking at their stories, however it was done for them in the past. Finally, which line from an Aladdin song would a critical race theory analysis find problematic or essentializing? The phrase, "cut off your ear to spite your face," would certainly be problematic for a critical race theorist. And in fact, Disney cut this from their film. Now, there are some problems with critical race theory. Some see this as a way of separating people's truths and not allowing people to speak to one another, segregating stories and keeping us apart from each other. Also, if we're listening to everybody's truth, it's entirely possible that we aren't listening to anyone's truth and that there is no truth, which can be very frustrating to those people who want to find an answer. Ultimately, critical race theory helps us to understand the cultural and racial differences that inform events and characters in literature, as well as events and people in life. It can be used by anyone, but it must be based on their truth.